Welcome to another episode of my podcast, That's Fine With Me. Today we're talking about Emily in Paris, some stereotypes that I saw in the series, and I believe it's worth talking. I see a lot of people are not satisfied with the series and they literally hating this. Mainly, I believe it's French people, but people who are more or less aware of the culture, of real culture. They're kind of hating the series, but let's dive into this a little bit later. I'm going to start with the stereotypes that I see a lot. Of course, the first one, and quite obvious, locations. You see that Paris is so beautiful. It is really pretty. It's light. Everyone, you can see a beautiful, chic restaurant. You can see everywhere Eiffel Tower and really, really popular locations. And of course, Emily is posting these locations everywhere, and people are super into her Instagram page because she's American girl in Paris, and everyone is. It's a huge, let's say, trend right now. Not only right now, but it always was that French girl, chic, romantic, eating croissant, drinking coffee, sitting in a chic restaurant, and she has fabulous work related to fashion. Most of the time, this is the main stereotype, and they actually showed us all of the stereotypes. A lot of, let's say, stereotypes I see about people that are quite rude, and especially in the first seasons when they didn't know about Emily, and they didn't know, they actually hated her for being an American. And I kind of get it because, different culture, she came to this country without knowing a language, and she came here to work. And it's a little bit rude from her side because she didn't even bother to learn a language she's gonna probably have to work with. And all the clients and all the, let's say, workers from the company, they know English. I don't really think so. The majority, I guess maybe the majority of maybe CEOs and some representatives and someone from PR companies, they do speak English because this is second language and it's really important. You have business meetings and that is a necessity. But a lot of guys that worked with Emily, they're probably not really good at this because, well, they live in their country, they work for their country, and they work with their clients from this country. That's why it's a little bit weird, in my opinion, that they show that everyone is willing to speak English because Emily is so important to them. And I believe it's weird, the beginning of the show was that Emily came to this country because her boss, she got pregnant, and that was the main reason why she couldn't come. And I can't believe that they had only one person who could speak English, who could speak French. They should have found someone with French and then send this person as a respect to this company and as a respect to the workers, your employees from abroad. But it's just my personal opinion. Restaurants, all of these restaurants are chic and beautiful, and they're tiny at some point, and the chairs are all the same. I went to Paris twice. I've been there twice, and I remember the first time coming I was 14, and I basically don't remember anything. And then later on, I went with my husband. It was 2018. So basically, I was maybe 23. Yeah, I was 23 years old because right now I'm 29. And we went to this Catesale, if I'm saying to Catesale restaurant. It was chic, it was really good, and that was delicious food, and cuisine was amazing. But another spot we visited, the food was really bad. And honestly, I was disappointed when we came to Paris and we visited a lot of places in the center of the city. A lot of them were really bad and cuisine was poor. I can't say this was delicious. And finally, when we found the restaurant with great cooks and chefs, we stayed there and we had our, let's say, dinners in this small cafe or restaurant because it was really good and it was delicious. This was the only place out of maybe 5 or 6 locations where we could actually find decent food. And then I can tell that when Emily came to Paris, all of her co-workers, they were quite rude to her, and it was obvious because she couldn't speak English, she couldn't speak French, but she always had her opinion about everything and anything. Then learn French. And in the first and second seasons, she was actually trying to learn French. In season 3, from in the 4th season, she just stopped. She dropped it because she realized that everyone was speaking English and everyone were everything was around her persona. And that's what I really hated about this series, that she thought everyone would still talk to her in English and she can drop her lessons. Okay, so another really weird, let's say, experience was from people, and that was a little bit cliche in my opinion. And right now I'm talking about negative, let's say, negative stereotypes or negative parts of the series, and then I will actually talk about something positive later on. And about weird people, Marianne, the Marianne who is a girlfriend of I don't remember, like, guys. I totally forgot his name. The Greek guy. He's hilarious. I really like him. But she's a Michelin inspector, and her character was like a little bit cartoon-ish, cartoon-like. And a lot of this Michelin star inspectors, they're cartoon-like inspectors. They're kind of like hiding their identity, but everyone knows who they are. That was a little weird. I don't really think that Michelin stars, let's say inspectors, are behaving like that. It's a little bit dramatic, and probably they were overreacting a little bit. I actually don't really think Sylvie was mean to Emily in season 4. She kind of got used to Emily, and she realized a potential Emily was given. But of course, a lot of people are pissing about the main protagonist, Emily herself, because she knows everything. And all the time she's right, she's pitching right ideas, she's pitching the best, let's say, campaigns for the agency. And that is really weird because, it's a little bit impossible in my opinion to be that creative all the time, every time about everything. Maybe it is, I don't know, maybe I am lacking some imagination, and maybe I'm lacking some digital marketing intuition, but I don't really think it's possible to give that much ideas like that every single second. She's like, oh, I know, oh, I know, oh, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. And it's always like, I know. And I understand why her, like, let's say coworkers, some of these coworkers were a little bit jealous because she literally is stealing the spotlight. She's bright, intelligent, and really like it. But at the same time, it's getting to the point where she's always like, she's the only employer there, and she can, I guess, do the job for every single person. But then let's talk a little bit about outfits. I really like the outfits of the 4th season, and I guess there is a small shift from previous seasons where she wore a little bit bizarre outfits, and they were a little bit crazy and maybe extremely colorful, which I kind of get it, but at the same time I don't really get it. And at the same time, I guess this season is full of real, maybe even not even casual, but official outfits and suits, full of suits. And I really love a lot of this. It's just like monochrome is there. I loved the tailored suits that Emily was wearing. It looked amazing. Finally, fashion was there. I love the masquerade. I really loved every single outfit, almost every single outfit. Maybe 90% of the season was a huge hit. But at the same time, a lot of people are complaining that it's not wearable to, dress like this. And especially when Sylvia's husband brought his daughter, she was like, no, you're not going to wear this outfit in my office. We're going to come shopping, and we're going to choose some cool outfits so you would look Parisian. And this is another stereotype that is pissing off a lot of people, that every single Parisian has to style in the right way and has to be chic and elegant. And not every single Parisian is wearing something like this. And I totally agree. I guess it's more about Instagram, and it's more about, well, honestly, I can tell you that I started noticing a shift, I guess, in Moscow, because basically I'm from Russia and I'm from Moscow, and I see a lot of girls, especially in the center of the city, they're trying to put up some stuff, dress up, and actually look chic. I'd say it amazed me because years prior, a lot of girls didn't really care. It was just jeans, and then tube jeans, and then I don't know, some sweater on top. And there's still a lot of these girls, don't get me wrong, but a lot of girls, maybe even 40% right now, not a majority, but still 40% of women are trying to dress up. And I feel like maybe, of course, not every single person, it's not that casual to wear this beautiful suits as Emily does. But let's see this from a perspective of the agency. This is a PR agency, and they're selling the image. They're selling presentations, and they're selling a commercial, basically ad. So it's gonna look a little bit weird if they wear sweatpants, shirts, I don't know, maybe some weird sweaters. And it's really important, I guess, for the agency to look chic and beautiful, because they're gonna represent you. And of course, a lot of these outfits they're wearing during parties, because, well, during party you can wear, again, sweatpants and some shorts. Basically, you need to dress up, and they have so many parties that most of the time the outfit they're wearing during the day is going to be still on during the night, and I kind of get it. So it's just it requires them to wear chic stuff, and that is the main reason why people are pissing off. But I don't understand this angle of their anger, let's say, because, well, certain jobs, they require certain outfits, as well as a celebrity. If she's going red carpet, of course she's not gonna wear a shirt and sneakers, probably, maybe, but mainly red carpet means that she's gonna dress up, full, hairstyle, makeup, and of course some dresses. It's red carpet. This is the same thing. She's not wearing a red carpet, let's say, outfit, but she's definitely wearing something for a party style. I don't understand where she keeps all of these outfits, because it's the same thing as a Sex and the City, where she has a tiny closet, but she has maybe over 300 outfits per season. So yeah, that was a little bit weird. I don't really like a love triangle that we see a lot, and it's not only it's always a triangle. She's not out of this, let's say, relationship, and at first that was Gabrielle and Camille. Then when Camille and Gabrielle broke up, it was Alfie, still Gabrielle, and Emily. Then Camille, Gabrielle, and again Emily. Then Sophia. So there was a lot of people involved in different relationships, and I don't really know if it's actually possible to have that much boyfriends within that short period of time. It's given a little bit slutty mode, but it's not. I mean, it's one thing when she's just dating a guy for sex. It's one thing. Another when she tells she has feelings for every single guy she's dating, for Gabriel, and then for Alfie, and then Marcello. We actually realize that she has another boyfriend and he's from Rome. And that is weird because she claimed all this time she was in love with Gabriel, and then she moves on that quickly from this relationship without crying, without actually living this life. And most of the time I see when let's say they're showing the story of this protagonist, that it's been a short period of time, maybe less than a week, or maybe it was a week, and she's dating another guy in a week. I mean, it's really hard for me to see that this character is not reliving and feeling the emotions from these breakups. And that's what I really hate about this series. I understand they want us to have this drama, they want us to be hooked on this series, but at the same time, it's super unrealistic. It's super, super, super unrealistic. If you feel something to a person and you said that you love him, and in 2 episodes, you're literally going to Rome with another guy, and you're kind of like developing new feelings to him, and you forget about your ex, that is weird, and I'm not buying it. It's like, then you didn't really love him. You didn't really love him. He's hot, and that's probably something that you liked about him. Okay, another really weird stereotype is that every single French is hot. Every single French guy, I guess, is hot. Well, it's not. It's not true because, well, let me tell you guys. My husband and I, in 2018, we went to Paris. And we flew through Finland. Oh my God. We didn't go to actual city. We stayed at the airport. And I was amazed. People, at least in this airport, they were so hot. I mean, women and men specifically, they were super, super hot. And I told my husband, like, honey, they're literally hot. I've never seen hotter people in my life. He's like, are you okay? I'm still standing here. You're my wife. No, back then we weren't married. But still, they were really hot. And with French people, yeah, when they're like, there were cute guys, but still there was someone who wasn't cute and wasn't hot, I'd say. And it's fine. It's okay. But they show us the beautiful picture with guys who are super, super hot, and every single guy is better than the previous one, which I don't know. And every single, this hot guy is falling for Emily. Out of all people, they're falling for Emily, which is still, it's fine. Mindy has hot guys as well. So yeah, I guess obviously they just picked the most beautiful and hottest guys of all. And, when we're talking about stereotypes and these hot people, I want to real quick mention that I watched And Just Like That, and what I really hated, I understand why people are so hateful, not even hateful, but the way they hate these stereotypes about French people, because I understand not every single Parisian girl is eating croissant every single day, drinking coffee, and walking around the city nonstop, and has beautiful, let's say outfits, and has in digital marketing or in fashion a job. Of course, I totally get it. But at the same time, it was the same as when I watched And Just Like That and Carrie with Seema, who's, by the way, if you're mistaken, Indian. They were talking, and I want to specify Indian here because when they were talking about the downstairs neighbor, Carrie's new neighbor, this young girl, they were like, oh, she always has a lot of companies, she's hanging around, and she can afford a building here, an apartment here, and she's under like 20 or 30, I don't know. And what really pissed me off is that they assumed she was a prostitute, and eventually they assumed that she was Russian. If she's Russian, then she's a prostitute. And that was weird in my opinion, because Carrie, who was, let's say, Native American, she talked to a woman who's probably a Native American as well, but she has Indian roots and she's Indian. And they were freely discussing some other nation and assuming that she was a prostitute. And it turned out that this girl was a jewelry designer. And what really pissed me off about this whole situation, that both of them were discussing a nationality. Then what stops me from assuming something about you because you're Indian? Or it's a little bit different because I feel like she's an Indian, then that's why it gives her a right to criticize others' nationalities. I don't understand. And I'm not saying that it's okay for Carrie to do so. I kind of hate it as well. But I didn't really like the fact. It's given the impression that every single Russian girl is a prostitute. And I'm from Russia, and most definitely I'm not. It gives me the feeling that if I come to United States, then people would definitely assume that I'm a prostitute if I'm from Russia. I don't understand the point behind And Just Like That series that we're portraying Russians this way. That's fine. Okay, I mean, like, stereotypes. That's why I was pissing about this, like, how are they talking about this? Because they're assuming something about one nation, and Carrie is talking to an Indian who's a little bit different nation, and she's not assuming that she's a fraud, okay? Because we actually see a lot of, let's say, videos over internet that a lot of scammers and a lot of scam calls come from India. So Seema could be a scammer because she's an Indian, but they didn't assume this. They assumed that only Russians could be prostitutes. I mean, yeah, it might be a little bit crazy from my perspective right now, I'm saying, but I didn't really like when it's coming from a written script. So it's coming from a script where you intentionally included this line. That was weird in my opinion. That's why I understand the rage from French, why they hate all these stereotypes coming from Emily in Paris series. I totally get it. Another really weird, it's not even a stereotype, or maybe it is partially. When Emily came to Paris, she started her her Instagram channel, and she was like, Emily in Paris, and she was posting regularly her content. She was gaining a lot of views and a lot of support from people. Most of the time, I guess it was referring to the fact that people love Parisian style and Parisian girls. That's why she was getting this popularity, and they were trying to emphasize it, that it's super popular right now. And at the same time, I doubt that this girl from Chicago coming to Paris and saying like, oh, I live in Paris, and sharing locations, super popular locations like Eiffel Tower and I don't know what, Montmartre, whatever she went as well. Most of the time was Eiffel Tower. People were like, oh my God, I am subscribed. And in the 4th season, she even had a photo with a president's wife, Macron, the first lady of France. You've got to be freaking kidding me. She doesn't really care who Emily in Paris is. Well, basically, based on the series, well, she cared, but I doubt she's going to subscribe to a random girl coming from United States and claiming she wants to be a Parisian girl. That was a little bit weird in my opinion, but okay, fine. We kind of live with this. And let's talk about positive moments of the series. I really liked, let's say, the video of Paris. I really liked the streets. I really liked the lighting. This was aesthetically pleasing. Aesthetically pleasing restaurants. It was beautiful. It was just like you're eating in a fine diner. I actually really like the outfits. It's given more like not watching from a perspective of something serious and true to the core serious. It's more about enjoy aesthetically pleasing moments about Paris, about this country, and just enjoy the view, enjoy the whole idea of fashion and all of it. And of course, I guess what I really liked about the final season as well, they showed a little bit more Sylvia's apartment. I was and I'm still obsessing over their office. The design is amazing. I really like it. Compared to, let's say, other offices all around the world, I mean, in the United States and maybe like Russia, I don't know, like any other countries, probably. People do not really pay attention to the atmosphere, design. They don't really get the point where like you have to spend a lot of time here. And with Emily in Paris and their agency, it is so freaking pretty, guys. I was obsessively looking for the photos from the office, and I wanted to recreate something similar in my apartment. I love the Parisian style design, and I love the colors. I feel that they did a great job, and especially Sylvia's apartment was really beautiful, was well constructed. I loved it. I really loved the interior design of Emily in Paris. It is so pretty. I guess it's still true that Paris is a fashion capital, and people come. It's really obvious because this year Vogue had their fashion show in Paris, and a lot of celebrities were invited, and it was connected to Olympic Games. I guess most of them it was just like one big venue of celebrities and shows and like all over Paris. But what I can tell you for sure, guys, is I really, really love Paris. And I don't really have the stereotypes in my mind. I really love this. With my husband, we'd spend great days back then. It was August 2018. And yeah, we went to an Eiffel Tower together. We're walking around the streets. One of my friends hated Parisian metro stations and metro itself. I can't say anything bad about metro. Yeah, it was smelly a little bit, but at the same time, metro is a metro, like trains, and we could get from one place to another real quick. That's why, no, I don't really have any problems with metro. I really liked the Marcello's comment, and I guess I should end my podcast with that quote. We want everyone who works here to be happy, because if you're not happy at work, you cannot be happy in life. And totally agree with him. I guess it represents the whole idea of life. You have to be happy with your decisions. You have to be happy with your life, and especially with work. If it brings you joy, that's great. If it doesn't, then maybe you should switch to a little bit different major and find yourself. Try to see if you really love it or you kind of hate it. Of course, there are going to be days when you're like, oh, I don't really want to wake up. I don't really want to do this. But ultimately, at the end of the day, is it bringing you joy? Like, is it really bringing you happiness to your life? And I always thought I wanted to be a translator and an interpreter, but like maybe not always, but for 10 years, I guess, I wanted to be a translator, interpreter, maybe even longer. And when I had become a translator and let's say interpreter in the embassy, I realized how shallow I was in my idea of what translator is. Who is translator? I mean, I really liked my office hours. I really liked the whole idea of using English. But at the same time, I guess I wasn't really happy about I guess I had my dream vision and I had my ambitions that if I worked for an embassy, then I would probably be just a translator, interpreter. But unfortunately, it didn't work out this way. I had to, be sometimes a secretary. I had to, stamp visas. I had to order some, food for like some celebrations. And I had this, it crashed in my head what a real, I thought that if I'm going to be an assistant or a translator or interpreter for some office hours, I thought I would be like Emily in Paris, dressing casually and beautifully and with grace, participate in this. But most of the time, it wasn't just like this. It just like crushed, blew up in my face. And I realized how shallow I was for thinking this way. Work is work, okay? And maybe it can look really pretty from your screen when you're watching Emily in Paris, but in real life, if you work for digital marketing or if you work as an influencer, and even if you work as a fashion influencer, there's so much work going behind the scenes and there's so much work going behind the camera that mainly it's not what it seems. Definitely, it's not that rainbow and butterflies. It's hard work, labor, and you have to come up with so many ideas. Especially, it's emotionally draining when you have to post almost every single day and come up with new ideas. I catch myself sometimes in a state where I'm like, what do I film today? What do I show people that I haven't showed them in a while? Or maybe what are they going to be interested? It taking off a little bit the element of what I want to create. No, I actually create whatever I want. I mean, of course I'm sharing this, but sometimes when I'm filming some certain videos and I'm, for example, just like showing my makeup looks for you guys in a huge, like in a long tutorial, most of us are not really interested, or maybe they don't really see those tutorials. They're probably interested in celebrities makeup looks, they're interested in certain like fix my makeup looks, and I'm happily doing this, but at the same time it takes off a little bit the creativity that we see. For example, in Emily in Paris, they're like, oh, okay, let's create this. Oh, let's create that. And she's so creative all the time. But I don't really think it is possible in real life to be that creative and to know exactly what people want every single time. It's a little bit hard, in my opinion. That was it for today's podcast. That's fine with me, guys. I try to kind of, explore this topic and say that maybe Emily in Paris is not that bad. Really like that from one angle, and I hate it from a little bit different angle, and I guess most of you did as well. If this show was that bad as it described in every single article, in every single video that I watched, then people wouldn't watch that and Netflix would have closed the project. But they have season 5 coming up, I guess, I don't know, maybe next year, I don't know when, but it's about the fact that people are interested. If they're watching 4 seasons in a row, then they're interested. Hey, I really like that as well. I hope they're going to be a little bit less romantic drama, but I don't know. Okay, see you in my next podcast. That's fine with me. That's going to be uploaded probably next week, hopefully. Love you all. Bye-bye.